Alrighty then, welcome back everybody, welcome back to the drawing. So today I actually wanted to continue where I left off last time, which is actually just getting back to the midsection. So today I actually need to do some bits and pieces. One of the bits and pieces is actually getting the dark background part done. So we have this building right here in the middle and we need to fix that up. So we need to add some more stuff to it. So no further ado, let's get started. We have actually done yesterday. The day before that, we actually done the left side, and today I'm actually gonna do the midsection, finishing up the building that I left behind. I'm gonna be making this into a different layer, mainly because of that. I moved it like that. All right, let's save it like that, and then move on. So. To create that effect, I need to actually move one of the pieces here. I believe it's that one. And I need to move it in such a direction that I actually can get the background up and running. So I'm going to be moving that bit like, let's see, I want that to be like so. Because we have a building here that is broken down. So we have this line right here, we have an upper section, so I need to move a little bit, everything a little bit here and there. And there we go, now we actually have ourselves an upper section quite well. And that should provide me with enough leeway to get things done. First things first, I need to draw it, and then after that I can actually get towards it. So I need to have this bit colored up. So I'm going to be doing this like so. So I want this bit to be colored up, or at least darkened. So we have this bit darkened. And then now we can actually get ourselves towards what we're aiming for. So we have here, we have a little bit more of a leeway. So we could actually go for a roof effect. So roof on this side. So we have a roof effect here, with then of course collapsing bits and pieces. So then we can actually get this bit like, we can actually get then that bit like that. So then we only have trash here and trash there. Like so. Which also means I need to move this bit around. That means I need to do this on that side. So if I have that, I need to have an incaping here. That absolutely represents then that light effect, like so. And just like that, I actually have what I need. Good. And that should give me what I want here, right? Yeah. So that should give me what I want. And now we need to get this bit like that. So we have here trash, trash 1, trash 2, broken pieces and rubble, most likely. So that's going to be rubble then. I'm going to put gray there. So there's going to be rubble here. It's going to be rubble here, and then there's going to be another bits and pieces like wood, structures like that in the midsection. And then this bit cannot hold up. Yes. Alright, now we have done that part. And then we can actually get this bit like the roof section we can actually get done by adding in stuff. And that should give me the thing that I want, right? Because now we actually have that. Then if I add that in like rubble there, like so, rubble 1, rubble 2, that should give me enough leeway to get a nice looking dark area, basically. But then of course, missing pillars, metal bars going on in the background. And then we actually have ourselves a working broken building. Because then we actually have then... Yes, because then we actually have ourselves a shadow fall. Then we actually have ourselves this thing into, well, basically into a perspective. Yes. Alright. Since I have now what I want, well, at least I have the baselines. It's very rough sketching here, but... Then that's the whole point, right? You have the whole, you have the drawing, and then you make a rough sketch to get around, like, all right, what do I want? How do I want to do it? And then you move then onwards to the next bit. So we're going to be moving to the next bit. That means also that we're going to be going back to 5 pixels per line, mainly because the pixel thickness actually does determine how much of the drawing is different. Because the thicker the line drawing is, the more rough of a sketch it is, basically. But 5 pixels is normally not very good because, well, you know, you have like just a very small bit of drawing. However, that can actually change because I can actually do this and that will work. But as you can see, 5 is not great. Mainly because it is a little bit too small of a line work. As you can see, I need to press really hard to get it right. But for these drawings, I prefer to have 5 than anything else. And turns out that thing is not responding again. Great. Well, let's save it first before anything else. I don't want to lose all the progress on the sketching part. Alright. So now we need to figure out, like, alright, what do we need to make? Well, we need to make rubble. That's basically it. So we're going to make rubble. We're going to make first the outlines of the rubble. And then after that, we're going to add some stuff to it. So first things first, we already have some rubble that we can actually create, which is pretty nice. I really like it that I can create rubble like that. Mainly because rubble is always good to have, and making rubble does make things a lot easier. There you go. And that should give me everything that I need for this. Yes, it does. Alright, time to get moving towards the big rubble parts, which is just getting more better at drawing rocks, basically. However, drawing rocks does mean that you are busy with drawing the effects of it all. And that means also that, you know, things can go bad. That's why I like the rubble part as well. And then we can actually move this one down, like so. And that should work. Alrighty then, now that we have done that, we can then move to the next bit, which is actually getting the next part of it all done. No. Easy. to add some rubble in here as well. Oh. First add in the line work, then the rest, and then I can already see that things are bad on that side, so time to fix it up. Alright, then we're gonna move now towards this bit. That means I need to now move this one down. And then we have sand over here. That is sand, so don't put sand down like that. Now we have sand. We still have some rubble laying around, but not everything is rubble, basically. Oh. Then we're gonna now move to the next bit, which means I need to lay down the rock in the sand, which is most likely the hardest part of it all. Luckily, this is gonna be like one of those brick ones, so the issue is not that ideal, but alright, and then another one. This one is gonna be normal. Like that. Then now I need to take a picture here on my end. Yes, there you go. And then I'm gonna be designing the whole grass, the whole sand part. Easy. Alright, now that we have done that, we can then move to the next bit, which is then this bit right here. Fill this up. There we go, and now we have the rest. That means I need to get that rest up and running. And that should be it. Alright. I can actually fix that middle bit because, you know, it's important to fix that part up. Alright, now we have done that. Now we can actually get towards coloring that up and then hopefully get towards where I want to be with this. No further ado, let's get started on that. First we need to have the main coloring, and then after that we can do the rest. I'm first going to be coloring all the rocks, and then after that I'm going to be coloring the sand in. It's a lot more easier that way, and a lot more quicker. So yeah, trying to get this thing to have a perspective is always a very hard thing to do. You know, you're trying to get the perspective done while actually working in layers instead of perspective itself. It can be a little bit difficult, but it does have a good result in the end, and that's why I'm actually picking it up. Alright, let's see. Alright, then after that we're going to be going for the next one, which is the higher color, which is only on these things right here. And then I can immediately see where the issue lies. The issue lies that I don't have the... where is it? I've not colored them. I don't have Boots rock effect on some of the rocks itself, which is bad. Alright, now we can continue, which means I can then move back towards this color. Let's do first the light color, and then afterwards we're going to add in the next bit. And then we're going to pick up a darker color. Alright, now time to get the next bit up and running, which is this one right here. And see where that leads. Most likely the detail work will take a long time to get done, but you know, at the end detail work is always good because it means that the drawing comes more alive and the more you do on it. And it is very important to keep a fresh eye on it because it can get a little bit confusing sometimes with these things. Then we're going to be aiming for the middle bar. Then we're going to be aiming for the lighter effect, and then we're going to be aiming for the darker effect, and then it should be working. Alright, now we're gonna go for the sand. That means I technically need to do this on a different layer, but no, I'm not going to be doing that on a different layer. There we go. Then we're gonna go for the spot effect, and then after that we should be good with this. Oh yeah, almost forgot to add in the darker color as well. Then move that down, and we're going back in. Yes, there you go. Now, after that, we need to do some more work. So now we have the bit where we need to make a decolorization of the first bit and then make it again, but then it will show as a shadow, basically. Blah. So, trying to get that done. So we have this bit right here. And we need to get that shadow down, so I'm going to be putting that on the other side of this. So we need to get this thing up and running. So we have rusted, 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 metal bar, rusted, and then of course broken down building bits. All right. Easy. Alright, now we have done that, Now it's time to get the next bit done. So now we have that bit again. No, come on, give me back the thing. So now we have this thing again, but now we actually have ourselves the next bit of it all. And that's the whole point of this. All right, so now we have that, and now we need to get this thing into. Alright, and then that should give us what I need, right? It does. Bloody hell, that is hard to do properly. Alright, again. Alright, now we have everything. Now it's time to get the next bit up and running, which is the color. However, this color is gonna be different than the color we are using right now. So I'm gonna be using this color, but I'm gonna be making it slightly odd. Because that will give us the effect that I want. And then we can actually fix the rubble bit as well. Awesome. All right. And time to get this thing as well. And then the last one bit, which is even darker. No, that's too aggressive. That bit is metal. There you go. This bit is also metal, so I need to do that again. luckily this bit is even easier. Alright, and now we actually have ourselves the effect that I want, right? Yes, we do. Alright, now we have the shading effect that I need. Time to get that house up and running. In the right direction, of course, but... There we go. Oh yeah, I forgot to add in the effect. Alright, that is this one, right? Yep, that is that one. I need to add in some stuff. Mainly just straight up lines, but... I forgot to put them in there. Alright, and now we have done that, now we can actually continue with the coloring part. It's gonna be a very simplistic way of doing this, but filling up the page is always a good thing to do, but sometimes you need to figure out like what do you want to add to it. And well, I need to get this thing into a perspective size, and right now this was the easiest way to do it. There we go. There we go. Easy. Alright. So now that we actually have done that part, now it's time to get the shadow part here up and running. And I see that I did do a sloppy work on that part of the picture, so I will continue working on it. Just give me a second. This is why it's always important to keep a tight workflow here with these things. Yep. Alright, then I need to get this bit. Alright, then we're going to be making this happening. And after that, we're almost good to go. Nice. Okay, now that we have done that, we now actually have a building that actually works. I need to add some shadow in there as well, but first let's fix up the bits that I saw, which is actually just the house itself. There you go, now that is fixed. Alright, now we need to add in a shadow effect. That is gonna be on the layered side, so that's gonna be on this side? Yes, on that side. Now let's see how much it is. There you go. Easy. All right. Now we actually have a perspective that actually goes into it. That's good. Now that that is done, do I want to add an additional part on the other side? I could do that. That means I can actually improvise by doing that part and then have that as well. I think the best option is now to move forward towards this to the midsection, mainly because of that, because the building itself is good. If I would done that, does that hurt perspective? No. Hold up, I need to double check something. So this is that one, that is that one, this is that one, yes. So if I do this and would take this, How does that look? Does that make the perspective a little more better? It does. Alright, then I will continue with this. So I need to get this bit up and running. How do I make this look decrepit? And how do I make this look like the line works that I have already been using before? So that is like this, that's 2 bits. And I need to keep that bit up and running. Alright, so I need to keep this. How do I do that? No. So I need to get this bit like that, and then I need to go here with the knick. Yes. So that means I have that snap. And then here I can add that ooze that is actually there as well. Good, and then I can actually add in oh, yes, I see. Alright, so this needs to be like that. Alright, and then I actually have everything that I want, right? Because then I can actually get this bit towards this one. And now we actually have ourselves the effect that I need for this to happen. Alright, cool. Time to make this bad and then redesign it again. And then we should have ourselves the last bit of the piece. Oh, come on. Come on. There we go. There you go. Now I can actually get this bit. All right. There we go, and then we can actually continue it where we left off. So this one needs to be removed. And now we can actually go back to the coloring part. So let's do that. So we have these things here. And I'm going to be drawing that on that same layer again. Mainly because I can, and I will. Saves a lot of space. Alright. That's a little bit too much. That should be enough. Yep, there we go. And then the darker color to do the last implementing effects on it. Okay, then we're gonna add in a lighter effect. I spotted some mistakes here that I actually need to recorrect. Which are these bits? That is then in. That's the panel. There we go. And now we can actually continue. There we go. Alright, and then finally we're gonna go to the next bit, which is then this bit right here. And that should give me enough leeway to get everything right. There you go. Yes, that will work. Alright, time to get the next bit, which is then the last two bits that I need to do for today. Which is metal parts and some Alright, let's save it and call it a day for today. Alright, so now we actually have the main building done with actually some shading in it. So now it actually does look like it is actually a building that you can actually look into. Now that we have done that, we can now actually move on to the midsection, which is then actually drawing rocks. I'm not going to be doing it for today because, well, you know, my hand is a little bit tired from all the fucking work right now. A little bit too much detail work, I'm not gonna be lying. So yeah, I hope you all have enjoyed for now, and thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Until then, I want to wish you a lovely day, and